O Lord, open our lips, and we will declare your praise. First off, this morning we read from Psalm 53, which declares the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. And a lack of knowledge of God leads to a corrupt and selfish lifestyle. That's the theme of the psalm. It also talks about those who are practical atheists, those who don't necessarily deny the existence of God, but simply live as though he wasn't there. And the psalmist says that those who live in such a way turn to corruption, and there is no one who does good, not even one. We call God into our life, and he builds that which is good within us, so that we may live as his people. And then we read from John chapter 1, the first 28 verses, and here we see that great affirmation by John at the beginning of his gospel, declaring who he found Jesus to be. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. He came to his own, but his own didn't receive him. But to everyone who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave them the power to be called the children of God. And John here is explaining what he's going to be telling you and what he's going to be demonstrating through his gospel, that he came into contact with this man, Jesus, and as he walked with him, he found that in fact he was not walking with a mere human being, but he was walking with God living amongst us. The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. It was for John and the other apostles a revelation. They were Jews. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one God. They had the concept that no one has ever seen God at any one time. His glory was too great. And yet the only way they could explain their experience of walking with Jesus was to say that here is God walking amongst us. We can't explain fully how this could be, but this is the evidence of our eyes. And so John's gospel really evidences the first chapter. He begins his evidence by talking about John the Baptist. John the Baptist crying out in the wilderness, and people saying, who are you? And he said, I am the voice of one who calls, prepare the way of the Lord. Something marvelous is about to happen. And so John has now set the scene for his gospel, and in the next days we'll enjoy reading it as he reveals and evidences this truth, that in Jesus the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us, and we beheld his glory, full of grace and truth. Amen.